Believers after seeing the sign. The 16th of September 2024. The devil is in a fight against one single enemy, and that is humans. Why is lust always associated with the devil? It is the easiest feeling to satisfy. It doesn't require a devil to use. If you sleep with your neighbor's wife, that is, of course, an incitation by the devil, because that is going against the rules set by God and His messengers. If lust is present in the human, it is instead attacked or enticed or pressured or touched by the devil in accordance with the threshold that is permitted by God. They cannot go beyond what God permits in their torture to the human. Here's an analogy. When someone has lust over someone, they are tormented by that lust instead of being sent a tormentor. When humans were created, they were each infused with the amount of lust they would have over the other gender. It would make sense that being tormented by your doppelganger would cause trouble. It was described that the doppelganger and the human will both be brought in front of God to testify to what he, the human, had done throughout his life. God will allow either of them to speak and confess what they had done. The human's doppelganger will call out to God saying that he had done nothing to incite him, the human. He was already on the wrong track. But God will rebuke them both, telling them not to argue in front of him because he had already given them clear warning. Nothing he says would ever be changed, and he does not wrong his people. Why is it not the default that a person would be able to communicate with other beings after being born? If every decision results in 4 different outcomes depending on whether or not the decision maker had selected the right choice and whether or not they were given mercy. If a person is not given mercy, then whichever choice they make will not matter. They would end up in a multiverse of all equal probability that leads only to destruction and ruin of his world. When the person is given mercy, which is always, then whichever choice he chooses, he will have a share of goodness within each choice. If a person makes a wrong choice, they would be given 1 good deed, making it 10%. If they made the right choice, they would be given 10 good deeds, making it 100%. If every decision gives off 4 branches of the multiverse, then each outcome would have an equal chance of being a good outcome or a bad outcome. If such a decision was made in the presence of other witnesses who would notice when the individual had made the right choice and would also notice when the choice made was the wrong one. In fact, since they would be given powers and abilities that are inconceivable by human standards, then it would be likely that what we already know about them is nothing more than what other people have written about them, making them an issue of probability that is being decided momentarily and continuously, in such a way that since they were entities that are real and have an influence on the world, they still are continuously undergoing changes in accordance with what people think about them. A demon would only attach itself to someone he thinks would believe him, a demon. This is why sorcerers can never beat God's messengers. When sorcerers deal with one another, they are both on both terms and on both sides and the same time schism. The lack of merit for mercy path, which only leads to their demise. They are both essentially in the path of the quantum multiverse, or the parallel world that will be destroyed. It is like they have brought the punishment upon themselves by having mercy be taken from them, which is what will happen to people who go to hell. They will feel like mercy has been taken from them because they receive no sympathy on that realm of hell. It is no wonder that hell would also be considered a realm, because it will have its own rules and regulations. This is similar to scrambling a memory of a picture. Upon seeing a vision or a dream, it feels real, and it feels like it is meant to be real because it is real or it will become real. Dreams are set out to be one of the only means of communication between humans and God. Some people have haunting nightmares that continue to happen to them, and they are always being reminded of them in a manner that was made to scare them of the dream or scare them of a specific concept of reality. Like when children who dream of dead people turning to monsters, or when they dream of ghouls. Sometimes such dreams are in fact guidance that became weaponized by those who were meant to ensure the lesson is learned. It is only because Moses, peace be upon him, faced them off in a battle that the sorcerers were given any true choice that was in either extremes a good choice. They were offered to fight Moses, peace be upon him, and defeat him in battle. Had they rationalized and thought to themselves that this is a messenger of God and we should not oppose him, they would have been given the 100% of mercy for having believed in God and his messenger. However, even when they did not rationalize and they were made to fight Moses, peace be upon him, and they lost the battle, they were offered forgiveness for having been believers after seeing the sign.